welcome to the Offspace podcast. It's your host with the motherfucking most, H.E.R.
It's your favorite co-host, Ndegeocello.
And today we have joining us our new EPL informant and friend of the pod, of
DJ
course.
got laid off.
Yeah, you know what? It's tough times. We had to
He's
get.
about to go on the unemployment.
And so,
Introduce yourself, man.
It's me, Gavin. Again, it's been like, what, 2 months?
Yeah,
Something like that?
Yeah.
about 2 months, not too long.
I'm back.
For surely. And so, just, I guess to start it off, how's y'all's weeks been? This is a week that we could actually talk about ourselves because we weren't with each other the whole actual week like last time.
Don't say what, damn, when you go on a beach trip, it's a little bit different, but
That's true.
how have you been, man?
I've been alright. I don't know. Just been working, honestly, down here for Labor Day. Not in Lithuania, so count my blessings.
Bro.
Shouts out to everyone who's out, not shouts out, but everyone who's out
praying
here
for
right
you.
now. I'm watching y'all, I'm paying attention, and we're peeping some moves.
And we're hoping truly, like, yes, on that one. But we won't bring that one up on the pod. But we're hoping truly that everybody's all right because that's a haunted ass lake. I don't know why y'all keep going out there. For sure. Lake Lanier's got to do their job on one person, not everybody else, though. Shouts out.
I'm never going to wish harm on somebody.
Personally,
I'm not going to.
No. That's hilarious because we just switched that. Because before when we had this conversation, this motherfucker was like, yo, I hope they take this man out.
No. I had to double back because, I know who I am. I'm not wishing harm on people because as soon as you do, it's going to come back to you. However, if things happen the way they happen, I'm not saying anything.
For sure.
The universe go to work.
I'm not going to cry.
Yeah, I'm not
Jesus
going to
Christ.
just spill milk, man.
So I guess to start us off,
Dead presidency spilled milk.
do we have heat checks for the week? What have y'all been listening to?
New Big Sean album, of course.
And I guess some shit. I didn't want to pull mine from like the Sean album since we're going to talk about it. But
Right,
to be fair, I've been listening to the Sean album, so
Yeah.
I got to do something from it. I'm going to pick Lucky Me because he was snapping. He really decided to tie back into his Paradise rap bag and decided to go ahead and give some bars.
Throwback
So,
Sean.
yeah,
Yes,
Lucky
sir.
Me.
And was there a standout for you if that's what you've been listening to?
I like Lithuania. Sorry, it's a little basic, but, it's a good one.
Sometimes you got to go with that. I mean, shit. I hate when people, because
It's good for a reason. It's popular for a reason.
Exactly.
People like it.
And I love when you call it out too. Like that's why I do certain shit. Like I'll be like, "Yo, that's corny," because something's kind of corny, but you're like, "I don't give a fuck. It's cool to me, and I enjoy what I'm doing."
Yeah.
So run it. But for me, my heat check's gonna be a Robert Glasper song featuring H.E.R and Meshell Ndegeocello, and I probably butchered that. I'm sorry.
It's authentic when you don't know how to pronounce the name.
Right,
And
you could have looked it up before the podcast
No,
started.
literally could have looked up an interview where she said her name. You know what I'm saying? Like, some research needs to probably go into productions, but whatever. It's all good.
That's how you know we're giving you the raw, uncut files. Offspace exposed.
We're giving you our real selves, a piece of us. But that song is beautiful. I think both their voices are outstanding. And that's definitely something to say, actually, in Meshell's honor, because of the fact that H.E.R is somebody that's just very, very established with how like beautiful her voice sounds and just how she sings. And I couldn't tell you who sounded better. Genuinely. That's how good both of them sounded on this song. So it's something I definitely think if you're in the mood for that smooth music right now to go into.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we had a beautiful day outside today where it was a little bit cooler.
True.
It didn't feel 100 degrees of humidity like normal. So the weather's changing a little bit. It's time to change the vibe up.
Y'all might have just been outside a little bit too early because when I pulled up, that shit was beating my ass.
Honestly, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was in the park a little earlier
a little
too.
sweaty.
No, we'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
But
I guess,
things we want to highlight musically probably this week, just to start us off at least with some of the newer drops. I wanted to make sure to give a big shout out to TDE, his whole camp, for the consistency that they always bring. Personally, well, at least in my opinion, because SZA finally released her single "Hit Different" featuring Ty Dollar Sign. Wow, that is crazy. But
two questions about this.
Pronounce that ER dollars.
Right? I said dollar sign.
Two questions about that. Do y'all think, because obviously TDE has great artists who always make good music, do you think if they were following the same trap as like a lot of, I guess, artists and just industry people right now and dropping music every year consistently, maybe multiple projects, that people would enjoy their music as much as they do? Or do you think they're enjoying it a lot more because of how much they space it out?
I think it's the spacing, 100%.
Yeah. I think you're not a fan of them unless you go that you know that going in already. You know that it could be 15 years for J Electronica drops an album again.
Just
So, like, you got to know that going in.
exactly, and I mean, like, just speaking specifically with TDE and about like the time it takes for them to drop music, it's risky, but they're the right camp to do something like that. Because in this like real microwave era, which I'm not mad at, truly, like there are some artists I'm happy to hear your new shit every year, and I'm happy to forget about it every year. You know what I'm saying? It's just like exciting in that moment, and let's just keep it
How about
popping.
you, Future?
But I mean, not chill, it's just that's my dog. But like with TDE, they take the risk of our artists are only going to drop every 3 to 4 years, like probably spaced out each.
But that's
If
so
we
many
gave an
artists,
average,
though. So
but and it's like so many artists that they can stagger it.
Right.
Plus, it's quality every time for the most part. So you don't ever. It's like if you drop a bad project and we waited 3 years, I'm never checking back on you.
Yeah.
Everybody's still begging for Schoolboy Q. They're still begging for Isaiah Rashad.
Because they know they're
still
going to get something different. I feel like that's because like they're getting different pieces of the people too. When you're dropping music every 6 months, you didn't change as a person. Like, be real. You know, you're the same damn nigga. We've been in the pandemic. Not a lot of people are really changing in this time frame. So
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
yeah.
And shouts out to the Queen SZA herself. You know, that music video was outstanding. I think the cinematography, I think the location was beautiful. I think the choreography, all of that. And
Spell that? I mean, there's something pungent in the air.
What's pungent in
It
there?
smells like cap.
Oh,
Who the
bro.
fuck is looking at the cinematography of a SZA
This is so
video?
beautiful. She's so beautiful, but wow.
I haven't watched the video yet, so I'm going to reserve
Right.
my comments. But the clips and shit I saw did look cool. I'm not sure, like, I'm sure there's probably more there, but I don't know. That's something I'll get to. I still got to watch the Popstar music video. You know, as a person who has a podcast where we talk about, like, current shit in pop culture.
Don't do any research. It's lazy.
Damn, we're called out.
You just mispronounced your own heat checks names.
Bro, cut the podcast. Cut the
Cut the
podcast.
podcast. We'll be right back.
Yeah,
We'll
you
be
gotta
right
go.
back.
You gotta go.
No, that's just truthful
No.
on our part. We definitely probably
To be
should.
fair, I'm going to pay attention to things I want to, and I feel like that's the authenticity of the Offspace. If we don't want to look at some shit, we're not going to. Because to be fair, we could bring you something from pop culture every day and every week about some of the most popping things, but we're not going to talk about popping TikTok stars because that's not what we're about. We're not going to talk about random shit. It has to be what we actually want to talk about.
No, we have to break this down for y'all, okay? And the Offspace is going to be coming to TikTok, and I finally we made that executive decision because of the fact that the machine that TikTok is for marketing, it's at least deserving of us putting up clips. I'm not saying we're going to be doing those dances or anything like that, whatever.
I'm bringing y'all some dances.
And I'm not personally using TikTok still to this day. I'm never going to have my account, like whatever. That being said, we have to be real. Just like you were talking about, like, the stuff we're not going to talk about, right?
There's plenty of outlets that talk about
Right.
everything, but
No,
we're going to
for
talk about
sure.
what we want to.
One, we're not the shade room, like so we could care less about certain things. Two, when it comes to like some of the popping things right now, like you were saying, like popping TikTok stars, we're using that as an example. But like, there's the YouTubers, there's stuff like that goes on that I could give a fuck about. And so like, if we have to break it down. When I'm 26, I'm grandpa age now. Like we're getting old, like whatever, you know. AARP on the way, we knocking.
This man
And
said
so
like, I've never heard that before.
And so let's look at the TikTok demographic. You see what's going on in TikTok? TikTok was made for white people. Okay, so TikTok was made for
Chinese
white people,
people,
but we even have to go a deviation. We have to go a step further. TikTok was made for white women. Okay, and it leaks out. It was made.
Explain yourself.
No. It was made for women and white people. Sorry. And there's an intersection of the two that goes onto TikTok. But if you think about the people you see that are the most avid on TikTok, it's usually women. And if you talk to white dudes, it's hit or miss because a lot of the times the dudes don't be caring about TikTok, just like a lot of people don't care about TikTok. But if I go to the hit rate, we're using the data right now. I'm giving them the research. My feed on Instagram, because that's fact, right? So if I go to my feed, it'd be like 99% of the white women, and then we go and we break it down.
That's true.
It's like black women, a large percentage still on TikTok, women, okay? You know what I'm saying? Asian women, Latin women, etc. But then you go to the males of their counterparts, it's not, zilch. You're looking at like people
I'm not on
fucking-
TikTok.
You know, I didn't even have to ask. I know you're not scrolling TikTok on it. Like, there's no...
I know a TikTok's good once it's broken out of TikTok and it gets posted on like
For
Instagram
sure.
or
Like
Twitter.
Twitter.
Then you find
Then
it.
yeah.
If it's the good one.
But I'm not
I think
going
people
to
hate on the
TikTok.
platform a lot because they think it's just like dances and stuff though. Because I had one a while ago.
But let's be
and
honest,
I was
it's
enjoying
90%
certain content on there,
dances.
but it is a lot of that.
It's the
But there's
zoomies.
some like
It's the zoomies.
deep cut funny shit that you see on there.
The thing is, I don't know. It's just it'll never be Vine. So maybe I'm a little bit grandpa-ish like that, but it'll never be the same.
I mean, that's valid too.
So once again, it will be rolled out at some point. You may see some of our clips there at some point. We'll move on from that application though and get straight into the music we've been listening to. We're gonna spend a little time talking about the H.E.R project, so we'll wait on that, and I'll kind of skim through what I've been listening to just like real quickly. I've been revisiting the Bullets Ain't Got No Name series by Nipsey Hussle. If y'all have not heard about he had 3 mixtapes in the Bullets Ain't Got No Name, and I believe number 2 was my favorite. But I've just been going through and re-listening to them, really enjoying that this past week. Black Thought, Pusha T, and Killer Mike and Swizz Beats, they dropped a single under Black Thought on Apple Music for those that really just like hearing people spaz out. Pusha T went crazy. And then
Always does,
super random.
Maybe
Oh,
the
not
only person
random.
that doesn't listen to Pusha T like that.
BK the Ruler. Just caught up on the BK the Ruler tape. I know.
You're just going to skim past that? I'm a little personally offended. How do you
Last
not
time we
listen
hung
to
out,
Pusha
he
T?
was really trying to push this. Like, bro, there's no way you don't.
I know. No, Push is crazy.
Numbers
I
on
love
boards.
He's alright,
Come
but it
on.
never really hit for me. Like, I'm just
He's
going to keep
alright.
replaying.
It's I can't even hate just because of the sheer fact that I love Push.
I like
And
different kind of
love
music
Push,
that I
but
replay.
it's not. It's just like one, you're not really the like rappy rap bar guy. Like when it comes to your general
and like when I'm
the stuff you
replaying, I
listen
need
to,
more
you
like
really play.
melodic shit.
For sure. And 2, BK the Ruler crazy. I know that had nothing to do with what we were talking about, but I've never heard anything
Slide
by
that in there
her,
real quick.
and she is nuts. Like definitely, I just started listening to her project Love Santana, which came out a little earlier this year, and then
Santana World.
Enoch by Ozuna. So big shout out to the Latin hip hop community as well. And then Sarah Bareilles has been releasing a little string of songs.
Bro, what is up with you and Sarah
Bro,
Bareilles?
I'm telling you, bro.
Every
Bro,
podcast.
bro. I know
Every
it's not.
time.
I promise you, bro. I promise you, she's been releasing a little string of songs from these movie soundtracks and like whatever. And they've been really fire. I'm not gonna lie to you, they've been really fire. If everybody wants to go hear her pretty little voice singing, I love it.
That's what you
should check
listen
it out.
to
Yes, sir.
when the camera goes off. You hit end recording. That's what you're listening to.
When this man doesn't need to be a tough guy, you know, Sarah Bareilles. And to be fair, I respect it. Why you think I'm like sliding the diss to you? But to be fair, we know how many people out there are listening to shit because I don't want to come off a certain type of way. You're not always listening to like gutter rap music. Let's be real. People don't do that shit. Like you have to switch it up for
bro. I
different
still
vibes.
go back to my pop punk phase all the time. Like sometimes you just got to dip back into certain bags and enjoy stuff. Let's be real. Like if you enjoy something, that's all that matters. And guess what? I enjoy Sarah Bareilles' voice a lot, and so I still keep up with her music.
That's like what have you been listening to that's new for you and things like that?
I haven't been listening to much new stuff. There's not been a lot of new stuff coming out, so I like to go back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to classic rock recently.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You know, the classics, Motley Crue, AC/DC. Some
Yeah,
real
talk
white people
up.
shit, you know.
All right.
Yeah, talk up, say it with your chest. Come on now, it's yours.
I like AC/DC. I don't know, since me and my girlfriend been driving down here, we just put on those random Spotify playlists, like, randomly, like, you know, the simp ones, like Rap Caviar and all those random ones, like the mainstream ones.
Which we have to give credit to, because they
do a good job.
They make it so
job
brain
of
dead,
curating.
like you can really just tap in and listen to music so easy.
Yeah.
There's the clear ones. There's clearly, like, it's no hidden point of the music industry or anything like that, though. You could tell the songs that it was like, my label put this on here. Like, not like this song got chosen to be on there. Like, my label paid, and Spotify put it on Rap Caviar for sure.
But for
Listen
me,
to Polo G too. Shout out to
Polo G, crazy.
Speaking
Big
of
shout out
Polo
to
G, all those putting beats over like XXL freestyles, and his especially was like one of the best ones. But when they read it over the Roddy Ricch, that's just been a moment that I feel like people should have been done. Like XXL should realize you should never hear Lil Key rap acapella. That's just like the ball on their part. Not even on Lil Key. That's on them.
Like acapellas for the bar out rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like
these are in 2011.
These are melodic rappers. You know, like you were talking about the fucking Roddy Ricch shit. Like dog, the Roddy Ricch XXL freestyle with the beat behind it. Like the one specific one might be one of my favorite songs of the year. And it was just somebody putting a fucking... It went so stupid. So stupid. I listened to that shit 20 times in a row yesterday.
I get it. I mean, that's just 20 minutes too, so it's really not even that crazy.
Right? 1 minute fucking song.
But me, I've been listening to, besides... Obviously, I feel like 80% of my plays this week have gone towards that new H.E.R album. But we're going to get more on that.
I'll let y'all carry that too, because I've only hit probably like 70% of it.
Okay.
Sadly.
I listened to it once all the way through.
But past that... something I just got put onto from like I guess just like needing like different flavors of music. Lang Lang apparently a really good like pianist and classical player, did his rendition of a bunch of like Bach, old Bach songs and things like that. It's actually fire. It's 3 hours long. When you're trying to tap into a different bag, I'm not sitting there listening to 3 hours straight, but I'm not listening to it straight. But to be fair, it's beautiful because like I feel like you listen to different kinds of music, but you're looking at the same thing or in the same space, and it changes it completely. So it's nice to be able to tap into something like experience a feeling that you haven't felt in like a while. Because listening to this shit just makes me feel like a kid again. But past that, Jaden Smith had an album that's really good, but I feel like it sounds like it was made for people who feel like they are. It feels like it was made for kids who claim to be from a different generation. And listen to
YouTube
70s
comments.
shit.
I wish I was from this generation.
Sounds like
the wrong generation.
70s people met Kanye on fucking like 808s and Heartbreaks or something. So it's like a bunch of different sounds, but with that same feel, which is kind of nice. But it didn't even feel like a rap album. But obviously, it was labeled hip hop rap because I guess he's black. So.
And I know
that
this
is how it goes, though.
100% with like all of the urban labeling too. And I guess to lead us into the Sean album, because y'all were the ones that really gave it a little bit of a dive, I definitely want to touch on 2 songs before we continue, with it, and then just let y'all go. The song, once again, it was a single, but I love when the single keeps up with the rest of the album. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it set high expectations for me, because y'all know how I feel about Nib, and then like the deep reverence Sean snapped on the other part of it too, And so hearing that, I was like, please tell me like we're getting a good project, because a lot of niggas will give you the fire ass single with the such
not even
bullshit
the single.
album.
They'll give you the fire ass snippet on Twitter
Oh
or on
my
Instagram.
God.
And you listen to the rest of the song.
Oh my God.
Booty cheeks.
So super big shout out to Sean for a good album. So I want to say that just first and foremost. Like, I don't know where it ranks for me since it's so early, you feel me? But I mean, like, this is definitely a good Sean project, a solid project. And I wanted to speak about I'll actually wait to speak on Friday Night Cypher because of how many people are on there.
I was just about to say.
But I'll let y'all just dive into the rest of the album.
I'll let you go and get off what you got to say first.
I listened to it one time all the way through. I don't know. Big Sean's always like really hit or miss for me because I feel like he's always on the edge of being corny. Sometimes, at least for me, like sometimes I'm like, I don't know if it's his voice or just like some of the bars. I don't know.
He's a punchline rapper. At the end of the day, he's a punchline
which
rapper.
Doesn't age very well.
And it's punchline rappers, and it's not to take away from Sean because I've spoken nothing but very highly about Sean here, but it's just like we have to be realistic, right? Yeah. If you're a punchline rapper, that means that's like going for the buzzer beater every single time. It's you're either going to look cool or not. It's like very, very far opposites. And so he chooses to do that every single time, so he's gonna, and you have respect for it, but it's like you're gonna miss sometimes, when it comes to those punchlines.
And he does, but that's okay. I mean, I like the album. I thought it was really good. Maybe a little bit too long. How many tracks are on it? 18? 18 is a little long for me. I like a 10. I like a 10 to 14.
10 to 14.
I think that's the perfect length.
Perfect.
I feel none of this Drake Scorpion bullshit where it's like
2 sides,
30 songs. How you gonna do a double disc when it's digital?
I loved it. I loved it.
I didn't.
I loved it.
There's just I didn't have the problem.
Not aged well.
I did not make it like the songs that I still listen to off Scorpion is about a 10 to 14 album. You know what I'm saying? Like so there's no reason.
The one that you want from for
there's no reason to have that 30 song.
I don't know, like the Sean album itself. I guess we'll get back to like Friday Night Cypher in a second, but 2 things I highlighted that I really liked a lot were the fact that he showed people again that at the end of the day he's still like a very good rapper, especially when it comes to like giving bars. And I mean, he started off the album like that, even though it diverged and it was like more on some like
why does he not put out more
musical shit? But I feel like he doesn't need to. Like he's made his career.
That's true.
So I mean, a lot of people aren't trying to go for gold for like the rest of their lives. Like he's okay with where he's at, and he's just trying to put out quality content now moving forward. But
and props on the album cover. That shit goes hard.
So crazy.
It looks good.
Did y'all like the? Personally, I think my favorite part wasn't even the music. It were all the little story pieces and like all these people talking that I loved so much. The Dave Chappelle one and the Stevie Wonder one were just.
That's a throwback because they don't do stuff like that on albums anymore. And like that in skits, no one really does that on albums anymore. They used to a lot. So.
I appreciate the fact that he really kept up with that too, because that was really a big part of the first Detroit project. And so now that this is a Detroit album, right? Like it's definitely makes sense that he brought it back to the album.
Yeah.
And so seeing these people tell their stories and, like really just talk for a second is always dope to me.
It's funny because like Dave didn't even talk on like him doing some cool shit in Detroit. He talked about how he bombed to hell because he smoked a blunt with Danny Brown, and apparently he thought it was laced with something because
it probably wasn't Danny Brown. Let's be honest. crazy.
Danny does everything.
All right, let's make predictions.
Mm-hmm.
What is the needle drop given this album? What you think? Because he's kind of a hater.
Oh,
Like a little bit.
The needle drop. Let's just go ahead and.
That's also, frat white boys love to just use his reviews
The
to
needle
try and
drop
get played in
is-
the club.
It's super doofy to me personally, but that's one opinion of the Offspace. I'm not saying that is us in the consensus, but
He just
I think
hates
he's
on
a
like,
hater,
just about
bro.
every
Like, he's a
hip-hop
hater.
project, honestly, except for Danny Brown and like Young Thug.
You want me to be honest about it?
What's
Yeah.
up?
I immediately ex-nay listening to those people and what they have to say on things because I just
Yeah.
don't care. Like, if most of what you say is like spewing like hate, I don't really care about what you gotta say. That's the main reason I didn't like Skip Bayless for the longest too.
I think he's just trolling.
But when I processed Skip was trolling, it made it a
trolling.
little bit easier. But I still don't like Skip.
How long did it take?
He's
Took me like half an episode.
No, it took me
He
a
had
few
me for
years.
years.
I'm not
He had
gonna
me
lie.
for years.
It took me a few years to realize Skip was
Years.
trolling.
You
I
thought
was like-
every year he thought the Cowboys were winning the Super Bowl.
Genuinely.
No,
Genuinely.
I really thought he was so sold. Like, so
Oh my
sold.
God.
I fell for it.
That's
I'll say I
funny.
fell
Half
for it.
America fell for it though. I feel like that's what
Him and
hated
Stephen
it.
A. just the dream team right there. I wish they'd bring him back, honestly. I like Shannon Sharp, don't get me wrong. But
He's still new to the game. These people were seasoned.
I'm sorry.
I love Shannon Sharp, but it's like Stephen A. evolved, of course, but it's like, and you had to grow and spread your wings. But the thing that makes me mad about the Stephen A. situation, because I do like Stephen A. a lot,
Mhm.
is they work. That motherfucker's like the face of ESPN
Bro,
Sports.
No, he is.
They have him on everything. Like, they have him work
Dude,
24 hours a day, it
crazy.
seems like. Like, what the fuck?
And he's so memeable. I appreciate that a lot because
So meme?
no memeable.
Oh,
you can just
meme,
make so
yeah.
many memes from fucking Stephen A. Smith. I swear to God, his burner, the Stephen A. Smith burner on
Oh
Twitter.
my god.
Oh my God.
Wait.
It's too good.
We gotta come back to because I'm gonna ask y'all something off camera, but that sounds so terrible now. But
Right. Keeping it
Jesus
from the
fucking
audience.
Christ. But do y'all have any other thoughts on this Sean album? Like, before we get to
I need to let it marinate a
Detroit?
little
You
bit.
definitely got to 2088. They had a song in there, so that's cool. I need to see a round two from them, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that was pretty much it for me on the Sean project. I mean, there was Friday Night Cypher, which featured, it seemed like, half of Detroit on there. Like, what the fuck? But
He tried to put on every single person that was from the city. And T Grizzly, I'm happy I heard bars from T Grizzly that was not about him being big and taking somebody's woman. Because I hear it on every one of his songs.
And I love it too because
He's so confident in it.
I missed posse cuts in the first place just because I
Yeah,
missed true
honestly.
posse cuts, and that shit was super fire to me. I honestly had to look up because of the fact there's so many people on there, but just going through.
What do y'all think about Eminem now?
Washed.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That was
You didn't like
His
his bars on it?
rapping, his first was okay, but
Yeah.
he's just like
It wasn't memorable?
It hasn't aged well. Like his style of rapping, kind
it's-
of like. Plus, he's got super goofy. Remember before the last election, he was doing those acoustic like
Yeah.
acapella.
bro. It's like, and this is no.
You're right
disrespect-
though. It did not age
It
well.
does not
And
age.
this is no disrespect to Eminem or Eminem's talent,
He's a
because I
legend,
do
of
come,
course,
I
but-
do come here and I make jokes all the time, but I want to make myself be very clear. It's like, I think, which I've said on this podcast before, it's just like, I truly believe this is the like syndrome for someone like an Eminem. It's Eminem is probably one of the best lyricists in hip hop history.
Sure.
Is probably one of the best lyricists in hip hop history. I'll say that again, but you could tell only he's gotten to the point that he's uninspired and he pops out when he gets inspired, right? And so I think these weird flows that he does now that sound like they're not my cup of tea. They're not like what I enjoy from him. But I think these weird flows are just how he challenges himself, because like when the Kamikaze project came out and he dropped that so quickly, so quick turnaround, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
He sounded like Slim Shady on half of it. But it's like, because I think that shit is effortless to him and he did it for too long. And that's when it goes into some sort of genius, with certain people. That's kind of the risk you take with genius, right? Because like, if you put somebody into a level where you consider them a genius in their craft, or you consider somebody really excellent in their craft, either they become super excellent at what they do, right? Like a Jay-Z. Like, it just seems like he's had the same flow but evolve over the years, and he's grown with it, and it's become like, it's like fine wine, you know what I'm saying? It aged beautifully. Or you get an Eminem who, this isn't saying it's necessarily negative, it just goes to me, which is somebody that is going to keep trying new things, because of the fact that they just get bored
In
of one thing
some
and moving
realm,
to the
you
other.
can like commend that because it's like, oh damn, you're trying to keep growing, like try all this different shit, but at the same time, it leaves so much more room for the hit or miss. It leaves so much more room for you can bomb, and you have, but you also have given like some quality stuff in this newer age, but You know, I don't know if you need to be dropping music that frequently. I think you got to ride the I'm a Legend little wave a little bit and kind of, hop
because
on.
UCJ, he doesn't put out a ton of features. He's not like hopping on just about everything. So when it says featuring Jay-Z, you know it's gonna be a quality verse because he's probably got a million just in his fucking.
For
And
sure.
to be fair,
waiting to
so
drop.
easy.
Even if it's not quality, which I'm not saying he drops it that isn't he's Jay-Z, but even if it's not, you're still going to listen to it.
Right.
He demands that respect every single time you play it. And
I
it's
just don't feel that when I see Eminem featuring
Not
Eminem
anymore. Like if
that lyrical miracle style. I don't know,
it fell off for me. It fell off for me
Hey,
for sure.
so you're not listening to Cordae?
I do like Cordae actually.
I haven't listened to any of
like a
Corday's
couple
newer
of his
stuff.
things.
You heard
But
it.
Cordae is booed up and in love now. Like that man is
So he's about to be inspired.
With
is what
what's
you're
her
saying.
face?
with Osaka, Naomi
Naomi
Osaka.
Osaka.
Yeah, which big shouts out to her for all of the
Yeah,
stands she's
she's
been
winning.
making lately.
I'm not gonna lie,
She's
that's a young winner.
she's been
She's
doing
winning.
everything right because she's a winner
Good for her.
and she's still standing up for what she believes in. So I think that shit is beautiful.
And
But
can
I'll-
actually put what she wants on her face mask, unlike the NBA, which I just learned not letting you put people's names on their jersey.
yeah,
That's
because you have a little list of shit you can pick from, bro. That's what I've been trying to tell people.
We'll get
It's
back-
like.
Mhm.
It's like, and we will get back to like more stuff pertaining to sports, but it's
Yeah.
like what I try to tell people about. We should always commend the NBA for what they do, absolutely, but we have to demand excellence from people that we claim as excellent.
Yeah.
So it's like us doing little dances and clapping for the crumbs that they give us when there are women out there in many leagues, just doing way more than these NBA players when it comes to taking a stance, but they don't have as much of a camera light on them.
The
Like
WNBA.
the WNBA,
Or
like
the
A lot's got to do with
women's
the
the
national
women's
team.
national team, like even
Yeah.
going to Naomi Osaka, even the stands that I've seen like a Serena Williams take, it's like it takes being a super omega star as a woman to get noticed.
I think-
but the NBA is being super commended for doing kind of the least. You know
I
what I'm saying?
think
Like
it's
doing
the fact
basic.
though that at the
Maybe
end of the
more
day,
than
it's showing
NFL, though.
people's character when they have money on how much they're willing to risk it. Because at the end of the day, like we know these women's sports players aren't getting paid nearly as much. So
That's the
like it's
reason
not
they
as
can
much
take-
like exactly.
They can take those risks because they don't have as much to lose. As bad as it sounds, I don't think it should be that way. But they don't have,
Mhm.
everything on the line like an NBA or an NFL does. So they have to tiptoe around it, and it sucks.
And to
you
be
know?
fair though, it shows your character though when it comes to like these NBA stars,
Exactly.
especially like what was happening like again when it came to like the Hong Kong protests like earlier in the year, and certain players just kind of turning a blind eye or like being on the wrong side of it because they
Right.
had a lot of money and a lot of stock invested into the Chinese realm of basketball. So I don't know, it's a
Yeah.
little spooky in the light right now, but
for sure.
shit, what
for
isn't
sure.
spooky in
Just
the light
remember
right
that the
Everything's
NFL is
spooky
doing
in the light.
absolutely.
Oh, the NFL's
They're not
doing
doing-
the
yeah.
the
All lives
NFL
matter quarterback right here. Come on.
Stop it. Stop it.
Come on.
Drew's the god. But anyways, the people that were supposed to snap
Maybe-
went crazy on that song. Cash Doll went nuts. My favorite verse was actually Royce's. Royce went
always
super
has good
crazy.
verses.
But Royce, he's somebody once again that kind of is doing like the Hove thing, like to me, like Royce, like, and I'm not saying this like obviously, and I know y'all understand, but I'm just saying it
Right.
clear for like the people listening. I'm not saying this like Royce or like Hove don't ever change their style or try things. They do. It's just like an Eminem's gonna be off the wall with the experiment. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll
It's
give
like
you a
A$AP
certain
Rocky
voice
with
and then
testing.
boom, all the way left. Like Royce and Jay-Z, they've kind of like perfect technician tweaked their styles as they've aged to where it still falls in line, but it is still different and it sounds amazing. And they do try different things. And Royce once again did the same, like coming on this and just killing the verse. So definitely my favorite one. Bodie James, Payroll Giovanni, 42 Doug. There was Cash Kid. But the only verse really that I was kind of like for. Even though I do like his music, but was the T Grizzly
And-
verse. 'cause
And I
expected
like
more.
T Grizzly.
I do. That's what I'm saying. I just expected.
Y'all
more.
He's got that DeBaby thing where as soon as the beat starts, he just
Oh,
starts
starts
rapping right
starts-
away.
Anybody who raps like that, I feel like they got something to prove. And they
Attack
really
mode.
came from somewhere, you know what I
Like
mean?
they're mad.
They're mad about what?
At the mic.
Attack mode for real. And so,
Yeah.
other than that, did we have anything else on music? We're getting into
Honestly, it's been kind of dry as far as new releases.
for sure.
Yeah, we'll see when the Drake album comes, but
And I did want to actually give this quote that actually one of my friends told to me this week.
yeah.
That was important with kind of the week I was having, and I think it might be something that people can just hear. So once again, shouts out to one of my girlfriends, Brenna. But she said that the quote was, "I feel like I'm starting to learn that ups and downs is kind of just what life looks like. Mount Everest is always going to be Mount Everest. All you can really do is train yourself to deal with the terrain better."
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just the reality of the shit. Because a lot of the time we feel like life is always going to be life. It's just like through the bullshit and the ups and downs we go through, we grow, we learn, and we make sure that we're better equipped to deal with the shit next time.
Yeah, dude. As you go on too, life like those ups and downs just get blown up. Like at the end of the day, like because we're just living more life experience. We're all young as shit. Like we can talk about some of the downs that we go through, but not a lot of people. At least like right now, I know we're blessed too. Not a lot of people have like age mates, like family wise, that are our age that die young. You know what I'm saying? So like when those kind of things happen or whatnot, those are some of those like deep lows too. And I know there's plenty of other shit, but like there's also highs. Like none of us have experienced the peak in our careers that we're hoping to.
Not yet.
I hope not yet.
Coming soon. Coming soon.
Yeah. So, but that's dope. Shouts out to Brenna and let's keep rolling.
And then, damn, I guess. We have a lot of sportish stuff this week, to be fair, and I know that's near the end.
It's a playoffs for everything.
Yeah, it's definitely we're in a...
We went fucking months without a sports section.
Right?
So you know what? Fuck everybody that loves to come hear the shade room stuff, and hear all of the tea. We're talking about sports.
We ain't gonna fucking tea.
All right, but I do want to start off the sports. I do want to start off like some of the news we've gotten this week by saying a big RIP to John Thompson. John Thompson was the Georgetown coach who took a risk on Allen Iverson when no one else would, was a leader to a lot of figures in sports in general, including players like Patrick Ewing, was the first black coach to win the tournament in the NCAA. And he just recently passed. I believe it was from complications. They haven't released anything like if it had to do with Corona or anything like that. But he's also an old man.
But he was older too.
So rest in power to that man. Happy for the life that he lived and for inspiring one of our heroes as well. And one of the people, at least I can say, I mold my mentality with life around, for sure.
Yeah, shouts out and RIP to that, man.
And then moving along, before actually we get into the sports stuff, there is a little bit. I got something important to speak on.
Let's start the convo.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet. You haven't seen it. This is almost important enough that I want to stop the podcast and stop the video and everything and show you the Vanessa Hudgens video.
I searched it immediately after.
I was about to say.
Okay,
let's be real with each other. How did y'all feel about? I know we've all seen like the WAP challenge, videos going around.
iPhone.
What? You were playing it? Bro, we're on the middle of a podcast,
bro. Let's turn my Bluetooth off.
This man was talking about how it was 11 a.m. and the first thing that came to his mind is let me start searching the challenge up and watching these videos.
Truth is on the off checking Snapchat.
No. These motherfuckers are trying to paint me as some horny devil, okay?
I didn't
say I was up clicking the hashtag, like looking at the fucking videos, okay? It was just on my timeline and I was happy to see it, okay? I was happy to see it. You know what?
I'm not trying to expose you right now because I know we got your girlfriend in the spot.
Shouts out. For sure. And you know what? All I will say is Vanessa Hudgens is a young, lovely lady who is a leader in her community. You know what I'm saying? That video was very powerful. It brought out a lot of emotions, good and bad for me. And I think it was something that helped me aid me through the week.
Why are we talking around this? I'll expose myself. That's fine. I don't care. I didn't know she had that in her, honestly. I was a little bit shocked. And I didn't think she could do it like that. But I think it's because she comes up from like Disney Channel and stuff.
Exactly.
Like that. So you never expect her.
I think that's the main weird thing. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's the main weird thing. It's just like there are certain stars that you never look at in a certain kind of light, right? Like you think like, yo, you were on Disney, you were on Nick, but you forget these people grow up. And then you see Ariana Grande talking about Pete's meat on the timeline and you're like, oh, these are grown-ups now. Like, these are grown-ups.
That didn't just come off the top of the head.
These are grown-ups now.
I feel like there was a certain point when everyone made a switch from like where they stopped viewing Vanessa Hudgens as like, hey, that's Gabriella or whatever from High School Musical to damn, she's bad. Like, I think everyone kind of had that switch of
you think she had a transformation like me?
Bro, what do you want from me right now? what do you want me to say right now?
You calling me Vanessa Hudgens?
I don't think I even said anything remotely close to it. This man's fishing hard as fuck. What kind of bait are you throwing out?
You know what I'm saying? We got good tackle over here, but I don't know. That's all I will say to that beautiful, intelligent young lady. And moving right along, we have... While we're on the topic, and being... guys will be guys, right? You know what I'm saying? Good old locker I can't even
You don't
say.
say locker
I
room
can't even
talk.
say
You can't
that
say that
word
anymore after
without even
2016.
fucking knowing just how horrible that shit is. This
Call
motherfucker
timeout.
threw up. He's
Call.
like, "Oh, we gotta call timeout. Get him out of here." He just burnt 7 shots in a row. But all right, so we're all here for growth. We did just drop a midweek madness shouts out. So here I'm gonna put my 2 co-hosts today on a little bit of a hot plate, so that we can see some toxic traits that we may have grown out of, like toxic views towards women that we may have grown out of.
And what age? At what age?
No, I'm saying just some high school shit, like whatever, just some gross stuff. Because people, I think it's more relatable and it's better for people when they realize that everybody's a human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause at the end of the day, we all try to make everybody be this perfect ass person at all times, right? Like, and realize that a lot of people had to grow, and a lot of people were in
Right.
environments where they were privy to a lot of weirdo shit. Like, and we realize it's weirdo shit.
Do you wanna
The
go-
worst part is just like the 30, 40-year-olds. Who like keep the weirdo shit
Yeah.
forever, bro. Shouts out to half the coaches at EC. But anyway,
So
I'm not saying
Weird-ass
any names.
niggas.
We all know who they are.
Yeah, what? Oh
But,
my goodness.
do you want to go first?
No, you can go first. let me
bet.
marinate on that question for a second.
I know mine, and to be fair, it was innocent at the time, you know, because I'm the kind of person I like to set up a comfortable environment for people to feel like they can share whatever they want and things like that. And whether that be like deep things about them, interpersonal relationships with other people in the past, like trauma, whatever, like whoop-de-whoop, it could be whatever the fuck. But however, so I learned though, especially if you're not intending on dating somebody, which you can kind of clock that shit early. Not everyone deserves to know that much about you, you know what I'm saying? And so
That's true.
getting people to open up to you like that and knowing that you don't want to date them is definitely toxic. So, or letting
I think so. I never thought about that, but it is kind of, because it makes you put them in a vulnerable place and you get them to share all of that about themselves, and they expect the same, and you're not ready to give them that.
Wait.
So
Yeah.
it's like you can't do that.
And so,
What if you're just having good conversation with people, dog?
bro, you get. Oh, no, I'm not gonna air you out like that, but
It depends on the person.
No, I'm joking, obviously.
I'm just
like,
messing
yeah,
around.
the court of toxicity, that's toxic.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah, this man doesn't do that like that. I would just be making jokes, but yeah, no. I feel like obviously if the assumption, or not the assumption, if you already said it like clear and dry, like what's going on, and like you're not really trying to do these things, whatever, like that's a little bit different. But when you leave it kind of open and like, they don't know what to expect, so they're thinking they're gonna get something more out of you, but you already know what it is in your head. Like then that's kind of toxic.
Then you're dragging things along for sure, because at the end of the day, that's something that I used to be pretty bad about, was laying intention, right? And just being like real up front. And like now I make it like very blatantly obvious and very clear to people. It's just like I'm not in the mental space that I'm trying to date nobody. Like
I think you can say that about most people when they're younger. Like it comes with age, because then you're ready to have those conversations. Whereas when you're in high school or maybe younger, like it's kind of weird having that conversation.
You're not really emotionally intelligent enough by like 16,
right,
17 to be like
to actually deal with that.
And I feel like even that though, because you could say like I'm not in the space to date someone, but I think we got to start being more on top of it as like young adults, to where we're just being straight up. I don't think I'm trying to date you. Like past, even if I get to the point where I'm trying to open up to somebody and like be there with somebody, it's probably not you still.
Oh yeah, you could be.
That's the tough one nobody wants to hear, but they need to hear at times.
Oh yeah, because it's gonna sting. Like it's gonna. Obviously, you're human beings. Like if you mesh with somebody and they're really fucking with you, or you're really fucking with them, and the energy's not reciprocated, of course it's gonna sting. But you'd much rather somebody be real up front, right?
Yeah.
Than you build a fairy tale in your head and then end up getting your heart broken later. So I mean, that's definitely important. So that was a good one, as go for sure.
But now that you let that marinate a little bit, Gavin.
I don't know. I never had that issue where I felt like I'd set the wrong expectation. I do feel like, at least toxic to me, not necessarily toxic to other to like women or anything like that, but just trying to fix people. You know what I mean? I think everyone goes through that little phase where they like.
That is an important phase.
You treat someone like a project almost, which is like super toxic to say, but like, you know, you try and fix them. You feel closer to them because they're struggling. You can help them out, and that's just toxic for everybody. Like
that's toxic for both ends.
Exactly,
too.
that's what I'm saying. So it's not going to work out, but you're trying your hardest, and
because you feel like you're the person that's going to make this person like learn this or like grow.
You almost
through
like
this,
see the
like,
potential in that person if they were perfect, and it's like people aren't perfect, so you have to get over that, and you have to find someone that makes you happy and stable.
And like the idea of them.
Yeah, it's not a project car. You don't just put it in the garage for a couple of years and try and put a new engine in it. Fix the transmission. Like
that's not life.
No,
you
it's
find,
toxic for you and for them.
You find the problems that Which that's another important thing too. I think a lot of people don't look into, but that's just the reality of life. It's
Right.
like no one should be a project. When you like, you're not. I'm not saying you should look for a perfect human being because that
Right,
doesn't
that doesn't
exist.
exist.
But it's like everybody
You're
has.
lying, bro.
Everyone has the. Oh yeah. Besides as a go, but you have to find you have to find the problems that you are willing to deal with. Right, because everybody's different. Like there are some people that find it like cute to have an attitude, right, and like think that's adorable. And there are some dudes truly, I have friends like that truly love the attitude. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just using that as an example of like,
I'm not saying you're wrong. I just know that's not me. So
oh,
that's what my
oh
face
yeah,
comes
no,
from.
we've talked about this shit, but it's like that is something that is still an issue at the end of the day. And like certain people might think they could fix that issue, but there are certain people that actually are enamored by and like girls with a little bit more attitude. So it just goes back into like, you can't fix everybody, and it's what you can deal with.
I think it's just like I'm meshing with personalities more than anything. And like you have to, no one's perfect like you said, but you have to have a certain tolerance for, other people, and you expect the same for yourself.
Exactly.
So like you can tolerate some things that you don't think are quite perfect.
Yeah.
And you hopefully are with someone that can do the same for you, because like at the end of the day, when you're in a relationship, it's kind of like, putting a puzzle together. No one does it on the first try. It's trial and error. So yeah.
And you never get it right, to be honest. Like there's always going to be things that bother you about the other person.
And it's a forever learning experience, right? Like being with someone is always a forever learning experience.
But you can't know who that person is until you know yourself. I really believe that.
110%.
You can't know who that person is until you know yourself well enough to know,
Damn, talk that talk, Ken.
It's true though.
Because if you learn about yourself, you learn all of the things we're talking about, like what you can take, what you can take. Like you talked about something like with snoring or something like that. It's like, what if someone is just like, oh, I'm not tripping on the snoring as long as you don't do this, which is something that you don't care about. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like you have to know what you as an individual can and can't do and deal with. Right. So that's a really good one.
And if you know you can't put up with certain things, it's almost unfair of you to try and be with someone that does those things that are deal breakers, because you think something can change, whatever. You got to know yourself before you can know anyone else.
And you cause problems down the line like that. You know what I'm saying? Because
push it off. You kick the can down.
It's gonna fuck you up eventually. It's gonna make you pissed off eventually, for sure.
Know yourself, know your worth.
Yes. But that was a good one. That was actually a really good one. Mine is dumb, really, because y'all just killed me on my own question. I was about to say like the one thing that I used to really, and this is gonna sound so incel-y, and the crazy thing is, no, it's all
right. Air out your shit. Because if you're better than it.
We're going to the hall. But like y'all don't get that idea until Cartoon Network comes to us ourselves. But anyways, like, but mine was just like, when we were just a bunch of like douchey, little hyper masculine like kids, I swore that women weren't funny, right? And I just thought that was like
that was one of the worst.
That was one of the worst though. But that was really like everyone used to be like, oh, women are funny, ha ha.
But now.
True. I
asked Miss Neely that in class. No bullshit. Do you remember this? AP Psych, I asked her, and dead ass, like, obviously that's something we've grown past now. I'm ashamed of it. I even asked that question.
That was ninth grade, literally.
You know what I'm saying? She just asked why I even said that. Right. All the women in our class stopped and looked at me. Everyone was like, bro, what are you doing right now?
And you probably thought you were killing them.
At that moment, I instantly went home. I did the little think piece. I'm reflecting to myself, like, maybe I am
sitting in the shower, just staring at the wall, like, damn.
And the crazy thing is, like, the older I got, the more I realized, like, bro, niggas is just as lame as I thought. Like, it's really not a gender. It's like there are some of my homegirls are some of the funniest people I've ever met in my life, and some of my dogs are some of the funniest people I've ever met.
There's also different types of funny. Exactly. Some people are like goofy funny. Some people are like they get jokes off. Some people are just unintentionally funny. They don't know they're being hilarious. Mm. There's different types of funny.
That's the one that hurts.
Those are almost the best.
The best, bro.
It hurts to be that person. It's great to be everybody spectating.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Take that as you will.
But that's definitely in a younger one.
Yeah, there's definitely things though. I feel like, and this is a conversation that probably needs to be had at some point. There's certain realms and obvious traits and things that the different gender just got to chalk up that at the end of the day they're not the best at. And as soon as you can identify that, you can start working on it and become better in. And men got to realize sometimes our interpersonal like relationships and skills are just shit. So if you're okay with like identifying that, you can get better at it and you can start doing good.
Bro, I admitted so much like masculine shit was stupid like earlier, like earlier in life, to the point that immediately I started getting better at those things. Like I admitted, like one of those dumb things that we used to do is like not really like talk about emotions or like talk about like things that are fucking us up or like things you're
Bro, I
going
tried
through.
to, and y'all call me emotional.
Yeah, because
you are
were
emotional,
emotional, but I mean, like, nah, that's a part of his.
I got my
ploy.
brother, and I got my brother here.
That's a part of his ploy. I'm telling y'all, and you know what? This is episode 83. So those of y'all that are lucky enough to be tuning into 83, whenever this shit does whatever we hope it does, yes sir, amen, amen. Y'all will know the truth, and I'm not going to repeat this after this. I'm telling y'all the truth about Ezio Offer.
No way.
Ezio Offer is he's creating this narrative around himself as the good guy, right? And I'm the bad guy.
It's piece by piece.
And
every podcast,
no, for sure.
he puts one more Lego piece on there, and he's building himself up.
Exactly.
Because
that's why I got to come every couple months, take a couple pieces off. Break it
down. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
No. It's because his idea is, they'll be like, oh, that guy Chuka, you know what I'm saying? He's a dick, tee. But it's like the second that girls get older, they don't like dickheads as much. So he's trying to sell me as the dickhead so they can all come to him. Well, you know what? They should. You know why? He's a great young man, outstanding and intelligent. Look at that smile. All right, let's continue.
I don't even know what to say. Really, I got stumped. All right, let's go on to the next.
You had me the first half. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, you like that turnaround?
All right, you went 30, 10, and 12. I see what you're doing here.
Jesus Christ, that's funny. But I guess to round that out, it's just like stuff we're talking about is why like the weirdos online, which none of us respond to. I hope one of the things that I hope the most out of just this podcast and just speaking on this forum, especially when it comes to our friends, it's like, you realize we're never going to actually hang out with weirdos on purpose. So like if you got that always on accident, once you figure out they're weirdos, you get so far away.
You exit out.
You get so far away. And it's just like it's just like us being able to admit our faults and just talk about our growth. I hope you realize that there's a certain group of people we're never going to identify with, converse with, or ever like be a part of. And like this group of people is what I'm talking about now, but you do see it a lot on the internet, unfortunately. You see a lot of the dudes that get so butthurt when girls talk about like men being trash or like things like that, when it's like we all admitted trash shit. Right. We all know that none of that applies to us anymore. So raise your hand if you're gonna ever argue with men are trash when you know that you're not.
Right. I don't get offended by it.
I really just see him like, all right, next tweet, like it's all good. You know,
people do the same thing. People do the same thing with white people. They'll talk about like, oh, white people always do this. I don't get offended because I know I don't do that. So
exactly.
Like,
I feel like that's a good parallel too and everything.
It's the same thing. It's like you're generalizing a group of people, but it doesn't mean literally everyone. If you feel like it offends you, it probably does apply to you. Maybe you should check yourself. Like, maybe you should take a look in the mirror and be like, why is this a notion about me?
That shit always kills me too, because once again, like you or like DJ or like any of my other friends, it's seeing somebody say something like some blatantly racist shit, right? And they'll like say like white people, and it'll be some blatantly racist shit. Wouldn't the first thing you do when you look at your phone and you see that is be like, oh, it doesn't apply to me, and keep it going? Right. Like, why wouldn't you do the same thing with like the men shit? Like, if it doesn't apply to you, it's all good. And like you said, if you get a little butthurt by it, it might apply to you more than you think, buddy.
Maybe you should take a look in the mirror a little bit.
Jesus. But with all further ado, it's time to get to the fun, the meat and potatoes. It's the sports section.
Been waiting.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Let's get it. Do you guys want to get into soccer talk first, or we bring it straight into the bubble?
Let's do soccer first and then get into basketball.
NBA is a juicy, so
and we'll slide. Actually, we'll slide in the little bit of football news, like American football news, because who could give a fuck?
I got literally one thing to say on that, but so let's go ahead and knock out the American football because I feel like let's rank in most importance, you know. Mm-hmm. And this is obviously the least important because at the end of the day, it's still fuck the NFL.
For sure.
NFL's fucking trash.
For sure. And Leonard Fournette got released by the Jags, because it seems like there were rumblings of him being like not that great coaching, like coachable, but
he's never been so.
But they all, and he was always kind of hot-headed. As an LSU fan, you could clearly see that. But two, you always see them paint the same thing about players they don't like in the first place. So I just want to see how he handles another team, because they told us the same thing about Cam. Goes to another team, they all love him. You know what I'm saying? Like, say the same thing about Jameis. Say the same thing about a lot of people.
Who all loves Cam though? They ain't even played a game yet.
No, you can. Sorry, but the way they talk about his relationship already, so this is a forecast a little bit. It
They're
seems
trying to
like
rebrand
they all
him
love him for sure.
because they're trying to rebrand Jameis
and the way that old Panthers players talked about them, though, they only talked about him with respect and love as well, because it doesn't seem like he had a bad relationship with him, but they make it seem like he's a villain a lot of the time. But I mean, so Leonard Fournette is still like the jury's still out on that one because we know he's hot-headed.
He's a good player,
and
but
we know he's
like obviously. It hasn't gone like the best, but it hasn't been bad for him for these like few years he's been in the league. But at the end of the day, he's a fucking unit. Like I don't think that he's ever going to fall off to the point where he starts putting up like Gore type numbers in his like deep career. You know what I mean?
That man's still playing.
What?
It amazes me.
How? That's the position you get beat up at too, and he's still going.
That's the kind. If you're really doing that for as long as like Ward really has been doing, you're coming out with some type of damage.
Dude, for sure.
But I think Fournette's going to be great. I'm kind of just pissed because I was thinking we were going to make some shit shake.
I thought he was coming to the Saints.
The fact that we're trying to get rid of Kamara apparently.
He wants to go to the Saints. But Alvin Kamara's good, though. So
yeah,
like, you can't be too mad.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad.
I mean,
we're still going to get rid of him for some reason. We're still getting rid of him. I don't know why, but I just was hoping that we would still fill up some certain.
They just don't want to pay him, which is crazy to me. But it's okay, whatever. Let the Saints.
Honestly, do y'all even think the NFL is going to finish the season? I don't even know.
They're going to find a fucking way.
America.
That's the sport they're going to figure out a way to do it.
You see in baseball, like, they cancel games all the time because people get coronavirus and all that stuff, and they're not doing a bubble for the NFL. So
yeah, they're not about to do a bubble for that long. I think the NBA was a unique case because it was like for the rest of the season and playoffs. Like you can't do a bubble for the whole NBA season.
Did you see the which we could talk about more later if we want to, but the format they're thinking about making the NBA for at least the next year. They're thinking about breaking it into two halves and doing two separate bubbles so that they can still self-isolate like while they play so they can get through the season like they have been, but still give players time to be at home so you're not just like taken away completely for X month stretch.
That's weird because it's going to be harder on the players to maintain shape and certain things like that, but it's going to be nice for...
Not the dogs.
It's going to be nice for
It'll
players
be harder for Lonzo Ball. Bum ass. Just kidding. No, we still love Zoe.
But we need you to do better. Genuinely, we need you to do better.
It's your shot.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get back on that though. Moving into soccer news, because I mean, the most important news for me is the fact that I already just made the Messi deal done and dead in my head. I didn't realize this shit wasn't gonna pan out. You guys probably have more details on that, Gavin.
Yeah. So, well, it looked like for a while I was gonna move to Manchester City, but there's contract disputes. Apparently, there's a clause in Messi's contract that says June 30th. Basically, once the season traditionally ends, that's usually when it's traditionally ended. He can basically leave for free, but he has to activate it by June 30th. If he didn't, then, in Spain, you have to have a release clause, a certain amount of money that you can pay to get the player automatically. And his is $700 million. So, some stupid shit. So, his argument was, well, the coronavirus delayed the end of the season, so the end of the season, June 30th deadline, should be pushed back to the actual end of the season, which would be closer to around this time. And it looked like he was going to go to Manchester City. But then he said he wants to avoid a court battle with the board and the director, so he just decided to stay at Barcelona, which I kind of thought he would do all along.
He's
been there his entire life. I don't know why he would want to leave.
Yeah. Especially
I feel like he also... this is going to be absolute slander, and I feel bad I'm going to say this. I feel like Messi might get a tad bit exposed in the Premier League. It's way more physical.
Get more exposed? Bro, I think he's about to go there.
Bit.
Tiny little dancer! He's going to be going crazy. I think 25-goal season for sure.
It's more physical, and he already barely runs. I don't want to slander Messi because he is the best player, literally, of all time, and I'll take that to my grave.
It's a tough time in his career, though.
But you get these teams in England, the lower teams, fucking Watford and shit like that. Obviously, they got relegated, but people coming up that they will literally just try and destroy you, try and kill you. Messi already barely tries. He doesn't really have the stamina. He's obviously an amazing player, but I don't think he just has.
He still has
the durability for that.
I think he still has.
I think he should stay there and just do his thing.
It'd be neat to see. I think at the end of the day, this is kind of a nice move since he is staying. It puts the pressure on management and everything to put him in a position where they can actually win and not dick around.
Barca's board is horrible though. They waste so much money, and they have a new coach in who looks like he's trying to get rid of the dead weight, the really old players that have super long contracts, Suarez and people like that, and they're moving some stuff around. But it's like it's going to take 2 or 3 years to get all those people out. I mean, they bought Coutinho for like 150 million and loaned him out to Bayern, where he won a Champions League. So I mean, like that's a dub for Coutinho. But, I mean,
super dub. What? Oh my god!
Crazy.
But it's crazy as well, just because of the sheer fact that I mean Messi is aging, of course, but I still personally think his play translates. It just goes into the selfishness of fans too. Because at the end of the day, I really want to see Messi slotting in goals past, like assisted off of Kevin De Bruyne. Like, let's be real. Like Kevin De Bruyne, to me, and I know it's an opinion, of course, but I personally believe he's the best player in the Prem at the moment.
I think that's undisputable.
And I think that Messi, which is I won't say undisputable because our friend Ash argued with me about it last week. What I'm saying is my GOAT.
Who did he say was the best?
He said He said you can't say undisputable if too many people dispute him and Ronaldo.
In the Prem?
No. Just like best player of all time. Best player of all time.
I mean, it's not undisputable that argument, but that Kevin De Bruyne is the best.
No,
player
yeah.
in the Prem, that's undisputable. At least to me.
That one to me.
I think he's just head and shoulders above.
I don't think you can ever really have like at this point like a clear GOAT of all time conversation. Just unanimous.
But it's GOAT Island, and there's very few invitations, so I mean, it doesn't matter
whether you're the first best player of all time or the second. I mean, you're still amazing. But the thing I was excited about the Messi contract was, at least what the media was saying, is that it was going to be a 7-year contract, which is a fucking long time for someone who's like 34, 35. But the first 3 or the last 3 years were supposed to be with New York FC in the MLS, and that would have been amazing just to like actually go see him play in person.
I don't care if he's 50.
I would be getting that jersey instant cop. Are you kidding me?
I'm flying to New York for sure and watching a Messi game. That's impossible.
I was thinking about buying season tickets just to flip.
Right?
I don't even live there.
This man's like, I know what market.
Me and my roommate were talking about like investing in going over to the UK so that we could watch Messi in a Man City jersey. Let alone fucking watching him in our own soil. You know what I'm saying? Over here, he could be 50. It's Lionel Messi. I
want to see what that would look like compared to people packing out to see like, let's say a Braun when he comes to like New York or some shit.
Bro.
I want to just see like what it is for the Messi signs, because we've never seen something like that in America.
If Messi signs the contract, right, and they know that he's going to be playing the last 3 years, I promise you, my 7-year contract, right? Let's say he signed it in 2021, so he would be here in 2025. 2021, the 25, 26, no, the 26, 27, and 28 season tickets all sold out for New York. Early in advance. Sure. You would not be able to find a ticket.
And by the way, that 7-year contract would have been worth $700 million. That's ridiculous. That's $100 million a year. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's stupid.
Spotify, please give us that.
That's that Joe Rogan.
What?
Give us that Joe Rogan contract.
Bro, anybody, bro. I'll stream this shit. I'll stream this shit on BET's website,
a double Virgil a year. Are you kidding me?
Give us 2 Virgils.
What the fuck, please?
Break us that contract. But past that shit, honestly, because
I'm ready for the season.
I don't want to say fuck soccer because this shit has gotten a lot more exciting, and I'm excited for it, and I'm going to be keeping up a lot more. But
and this I want to mention, but we won't dive too deep into because the story is still progressing. But I definitely thought it was important enough that we mention it and bring some light to. The LA District Attorney will not press charges. I know, but this is something that was.
We still got the NBA. That's the best part.
For sure, we have to get to the NBA 100%. But I did not want to skim over this because it's something that I do think that people should pay attention to. Because I'm going to be keeping a close magnifying glass on this story. So the LA DA is not pressing charges against the dude that attacked the trans women in that viral video we saw. Dog was out there clocking them, and so. There was obviously a crime committed. I don't know if this is a hate crime. No, it's on camera. We see it. What's
debatable about it? I don't understand.
I don't know if if it's classified as a hate crime. It obviously is. But I mean, just seeing how it's being handled, I just think it's something we should all pay attention to. That's it.
I feel like there's got to be more to the story, at least for the reasoning why maybe it's like delayed or something. I don't know, because I feel like, especially nowadays, with the way like the news media is and stuff like that, everything has more behind it. You always get the headline and it sounds crazy. But when you look into it, sometimes it is just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it really is
I feel like
just fucked.
That's because, like, when it comes to investigations, it does always take more, like, have certain details come to light. But there's a lot you can learn from just watching a clear video of some shit, so.
Like, the headline will be, the California DA doesn't prosecute it. But the real information will be, oh, the FBI is getting involved and they're going to prosecute. It's like,
that would
okay,
make sense,
right,
sure.
there's an easy headline, but when you read more into it, there might be some other stuff going on. I don't know enough about it to say there's more going on, but I hope there is.
That's why,
obviously.
and that's very fair. That's why I said just it's something to think about and it's something to pay
Right.
attention to because
Keep an eye
we
on it.
want to be privy to all of the weird shit going on just
Yeah.
because we're in such a weird point in American history right now, and it's just important as adults for us to care enough to pay attention because through all of the little turns and cogs in the machine, right? When we've noticed this through history, and we're people that like to harp on the fact that you should pay attention to history because it clearly repeats itself. We're watching a lot of cogs turning in a negative fashion, right? And there's been clear indication of when that starts happening, the fall of empires. And I'm not saying that to the United States, and I clearly don't
yeah.
want that to
Talk.
happen about the United States truly, but I don't want us to also all get fucked up because we didn't notice all of the signs.
I feel
being
like
laid out on
obviously
this
you
yellow
hope for
brick
the best, but you keep your eyes open. That
Always
is
hoping for
survivalist
the best.
mentality.
I love
Like,
this country.
U.S. has been great for
Like,
so
being
many
real.
years,
I'm a
but at
pretty
the same
big fan.
time, we've seen bigger regimes and like bigger fucking like civilizations come to an end. So I mean, I'm not hoping that it happens now. Obviously, I got a lot more years to ride out. I still got to see Messi play in the U.S.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But this is the same thing as the Messi and Ronaldo conversation because it's like, okay, do we think the U.S. is going to completely collapse? Probably not. Maybe we become the third richest country on earth. I mean, we're still doing pretty okay. So everything short of total disaster, you're not going to notice. Like,
Yeah, unless there's like some
Hopefully.
crazy
We're all
shit that
hoping.
happened.
That's
But
what's
crazy shit could happen. That's
Crazy
That's
shit
why
is
I have to pay
happening right
attention.
now.
Yeah.
Crazy shit's going on.
That's true.
But
So-
heading straight back into basketball from
Man.
that, and this is a
I'm airing you out right now. I'm airing you out right now, bro. What you got to say about Chris Middleton, bro?
bro.
The hairline's
No, bro.
fucked. His head lumpy.
No, whoa.
But he did put up buckets today.
Chris
though.
Middleton.
That's Gavin's opinion.
He's balling right now, and he kept
I'm a
them
hater.
alive because they should have just got swept by the Heat. But it's cool, whatever. It'll go to game probably 5 at most 6, and they'll still get swept because
I
of
think
the
the Heat
well, not
take it.
swept, but
Yeah.
they'll still get knocked out because at the end of the day,
4-1
Giannis is
might as
out.
well be swept.
Giannis is
Yeah.
out. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Sorry.
To be fair, I didn't think the Heat had it in them to even get this far.
It's kind of like the Thunder. You're just proud that you made it that we made it to Game 7 versus the Rockets because they
Yeah.
always have our number.
And y'all were looking like winners there.
It's a testament to Chris
No,
Paul,
we should have won that series, especially when James Harden was going something stupid like he always does in Game 7, going 7 for 30 or something stupid. Like we should have won that game, but we're just happy to be there. Before the season, we had
Obvious
like a
clear
2%
things.
chance.
Like Lou Dort showing out. I mean,
Right.
you say you
That's
saw it
good
coming,
signs.
but you're
That's
also a
good
fan,
signs.
so I'm
But I
gonna put
watch
some
every
bias
game,
on there.
So
But at the same time, it's like that's a testament to Chris Paul because that man's a natural
he's
born
a good
winner.
leader.
He just
He's
keeps
the
getting
president
hoed in the
of
fucking
PA, so.
playoffs.
And then, like, one of the most special moments that happened, which we do, once again, reference in the midweek madness, available now on YouTube, of course. But,
Go ahead and
shame-
follow,
shameless plug.
like, comment, and subscribe.
But we have,
smash the like button.
Smash that
smash the
motherfucker.
motherfucking like button.
Make sure you got notifications
Yikes.
turned on.
But,
Ring the bell.
Jamal Murray, through an emotional performance, helped round out the Utah Jazz.
That was a great
Right?
series.
Great series. Best
For
series in the
everybody,
playoffs
especially because
so
I don't
far.
give a fuck about either team. So
At
it's
all.
I don't
like-
think
At
anyone
all.
did, but that
At
just
all.
put both teams on notice
At
because
all.
him and the duel with Donovan Mitchell
I
was
feel
just
bad for
iconic.
Donovan Mitchell though a little bit. He needs to move. I don't think it's going to happen for him in Utah.
He's so young.
Tell him to
And
come
he
to
can
New
move
Orleans.
anyway. Well, tell him to come to Oklahoma. Nah, never mind. I ain't even going to play. He's not coming to Oklahoma City.
He's not coming.
But your
he's not
second in
coming to
command's
Pelicans
Rudy
either.
Gobert and Michael Conley. You're not going to win.
I'd
shit.
trade
Come on.
Gobert and I'd let Conley
The
ride.
first
Hey,
out.
fraud.
Let's not forget Gobert was the first one. Remember, he was touching all those microphones,
Bro,
and
what?
then he gave everyone.
They
he gave Spider coronavirus.
I need the NBA to quit trying to sell
Oh.
Gobert to me as
as
the French
like a Tekashi 6ix9ine.
as the French Shaq.
He's
I need
He's
them to
that-
stop
great
selling him to me.
defensively, but
He's
kinda
okay
limited
defensively.
He's a good player, but you want him to be like your third scoring option or
Yeah.
like something like that. You need
He was low key
Someone
taking
else.
over at the end there to try and put them back in this shit.
D-Book and Spider on the same team, and then keep Gobert if you could.
Mhm.
That would that's a good backcourt. You got length, even though. Like Houston right now, you see they traded away Clint Capella, so they're going small the entire playoffs,
Mhm.
and it works. Sometimes it doesn't work, but
You
maybe
got
that's
PJ
what
Tucker.
PJ
He's a
Tucker's
fucking
putting
unit,
people
man.
on
He
an
can-
island, bro.
He can guard a big man because he's not
Did you
going to
see
get
AD
moved.
try to score on him 26
He's like
times?
Boris Diaw, the 2020
Did
Boris
you see
Diaw.
AD try to score on him 26 times and didn't score on him once?
It's tough. It's tough. 80 is way bigger, so if you're closer to the rim, that's cool. But like, you're not gonna push him down.
PJ is
Not
doing a
gonna
good
back
job
him
though. People
You're not.
underestimated that. I underestimated.
I don't
it,
think
to be real.
You look at his size and you know like who he is. I didn't underestimate it, but it's just the Rockets have found a way to have a bunch of like undersized player at their roles that are just strong as
They can
shit.
just stretch the floor really well, and it's always going to be a mismatch. When we put Steven Adams on him, yes, we could score easily, but you can't fall them out to the 3-point
I was
line.
about to say,
That's
you're
what the
gonna find TJ
statistics
on the
say.
corner.
You're going to score more points just shooting from the 3-point line. So it's like you always have a mismatch there, even if you have a mismatch on the other end in your detriment.
Exactly. I don't know, man. I'm just saying some shit too because I know this season even stuff that we have for what's ongoing playoffs. You can make our predictions for who's gonna win these series. I don't even think I want to do that right now. It's just one more thing, bro. People,
You don't want to get slandered when it comes back.
Bro,
in
it's
your
because the Offspace, bro.
I've been wrong every time since the bubble restarted.
exactly.
Bro.
We were on a roll.
I don't know
exactly.
We were killing them, and then the bubble started, and it was just like wrong prediction, wrong prediction, wrong prediction.
You know, I'm gonna throw out a prediction right now. The Clippers not coming out of their series.
Wait, who they playing? They're playing Denver, right?
Denver.
That's a tough one. I think the Clippers are a little overrated. Playoff Pete? Is that the worst nickname of all time?
I don't know
Because it's not even true.
why they're going. With
He has
that,
not done
but
anything in the playoffs.
I know he was passing
He
it off.
does
as like,
amazing till the All-Star break, and then he just fucks off.
He was saying that he was going through a lot because of the bubble and like mental changes and things like
For
that.
the past
And
4
to be
years?
fair, after he said that and then the series started, he was showing out. So if he
Sure.
can keep it up,
Why
that's
is
gonna
he
be
in that
cool.
team?
I don't know, but they
I
have
know
a
you
nice
hate, I
unit.
know you hate playoff P after the OKC fiasco.
Fuck that shit. Hey, you gave us a lot of picks. Should I go just Alexander? I'll take that.
For sure.
What
for
about
sure.
the 6th man of the year? You saw who won that?
Therese?
Yeah.
They had 2 people
Montrez.
from the Clippers as the 6th man of the year.
It was
and
either
the other one was
Lou
Dennis
or
Schroeder, who averages over 20 a game off the bench.
For sure.
I'm not saying Lou Williams is bad, but he's won so many 6 man of the years. Like, how you
saying
gonna put
give it to
2
somebody
6
else?
men on the same team into the running? It makes no sense.
Bro, that's funny as shit.
It's like somebody's got to be the seventh man eventually.
Right.
Which one are we talking about?
I understand why everybody was gunning
Can't double
for
up like a bunk bed. Like,
and saying Schroeder got
What?
hoed, but it's like
he did.
Trez was a dog all season. Like I don't
He
think that
was,
was
but-
bad of a pick. I think it really was such a toss up between the two for me that I couldn't be mad at.
I think he
them.
only got
Obviously,
hoed because the
I'll
season
bet,
ended
like,
early. Like that's the
Yeah.
only reason. Like it was. It might have ended up in Schroeder's favor, but I mean, we're never gonna know. Shit, Ja might not have been the rookie of the year if they
He
played out
deserved
the whole
it
regular
for
season.
the way it played out. He
Because
definitely
if
deserved
the
that.
Pelicans
He was
ended
great.
up making the playoffs, it would have been Zion
He needs to get the
100%.
fuck out of Memphis.
But things ended early. You go off of there, and there was one vote. Did you see that? He was one vote off of being like unanimous rookie of the year. And somebody
Who
voted
He's
they
for
vote
looking
for
for
Zion?
Someone
Yeah,
voted
they
for
voted for Zion.
It's
That's
somebody in
some
the Pelicans
corny shit.
organization.
That's
It's definitely someone in the
Bayless,
Pelicans
Dan Levitar
organization.
shit. Just trying to be different for
It's
no
something
reason.
in our. That's funny as shit.
But
annoying.
I don't really have much more to say on that. Do y'all have any predictions or anything else you want to add?
There was
Who's
the
winning
one
it all? I want to know.
winning it all. I'm gonna call
Early predictions?
Yeah, early.
Damn, I don't know to be real.
I think it's one of the best years for the playoffs because it is kind of like a toss-up.
no clue.
You could see maybe 4 or 5 teams.
Ron, who are the Clippers playing right now again? They're
Denver.
playing Denver.
They already
I'm
played game 1.
I'm gonna I think I'm gonna call
They played two.
the
Oh, did they?
finals.
What's the score? Or what's
It's
the
1-1
series?
now.
There's the obvious that everybody wants or thinks may happen, but what I think,
I don't wanna see the
what
Clippers
I
win.
want to see would be Denver and who from Denver and the Heat in the finals. Denver Heat finals.
Denver Heat.
I want to
That's
see the
gonna be the
super
least
upset
watched
finals,
finals I've
but
ever
I
seen
want a
in my
super
life.
That would
upset
be-
finals.
the
bro.
ratings
I'm
But that
sorry.
would be.
Down.
I want to see
I wanna
like
see it.
both underdogs really show up.
I want to
'cause
see the
Heat
underdog
knocking out
final.
Giannis. Low key, if Denver comes out and then you see Jamal Murray put LeBron in a fucking blender, I wouldn't be mad at it. I
I
wouldn't.
do like Jamal Murray.
I'd be so happy to
And
see
like-
that shit.
Jokic.
Jokic looks like he
He's
plays in slow
underrated.
motion.
He's underrated though.
He's the nicest
He's
player
not-
I've ever seen play in 0.5 seconds. You know what I'm saying?
It's
like you go on YouTube and you're throwing it down,
But other than that,
I guess we'll see what happens. It's going to be a good playoff. So like all the series are pretty good. I hope Milwaukee, they kind of come back a little bit, make it interesting. I'm not really checking for
I'm
Milwaukee
never
in Miami
checking
game,
for a while.
but I always love the game.
We watched the game today, OT.
It was a great game.
Oh, we like basketball and it was on.
Okay,
Yeah.
of course. Who's going to win tonight though? The Lakers or the Rockets?
I'm calling Lakers. I don't think Bron's gonna keep letting this go on for any longer. I think if they win, I think if the Rockets win one more, then then it's gonna be a clear 6, or it's gonna be a hard fought 5.
What I need
I don't
to
think it
know-
has a thing to do with Braun. I think AD's about to have. He's gonna average about 37 for the rest of the series.
I just need to know, did LeBron go dark on social media yet for this playoffs? Or
No,
He
hasn't.
didn't? Well, that's the L. He's going to lose.
They're stuck in the crib though. They're stuck in the bubble,
Right,
bro.
that'd be so
He's got to
boring.
check his
He's playing
timeline.
cornhole.
You know what I'm saying?
Hours.
Braun's responding to like the most random comments right now on like Twitter. He needs to just
Kevin
take off.
Durant shit.
He's bro.
Kevin does
Y'all
burner
wanna
at
talk about
least.
Steve
He's
Nash
using
while
his
we're
man.
here?
Yeah, I was about to say Steve Nash.
I
Just
I was gonna leave that off completely. I forgot.
Steve Nash just
Yeah.
became the coach of the Nets. Just got named. I
don't think it's a bad move.
I have two questions.
You want
for
a
y'all.
point guard like
Two
that.
questions for y'all. One, just how's the move? Like
He
good move,
understands
bad
the
move?
game extremely well. He's at the end of the day, he's an MVP. Like he's had so much experience playing in the league, playing with different styles, understanding the game for what it is. He's still keeping up with the sport a lot. I know we were talking about he was commentating soccer.
He was. That's the last time you saw him was on ESPN commentating soccer. Which I mean, he knows a lot about soccer. He's Canadian, so like it's a little bit bigger over there.
Apparently, though, his relationship with KD and Kyrie is extremely good, and like.
But I feel
Having
he's
like your
just
stars
gonna-
in favor with your coach is big, and at the end of the day, being
That's
able
why
to
I went
coach
Ty
big
Lue.
personalities like that is huge.
But he's
Ty Lue
not-
would get
I feel
abused
like
by
he's not
Kyrie.
coaching though.
Ty
I
Lue
feel
would
like
be
he's just letting them
abused
kind
by
of do what
them.
they want.
Shit, he might have to.
He might have to.
They're great
Might carry
players.
him to
So
on
then-
a good team.
I'll say I agree with your sentiments completely. Like I truly believe Steve Nash was a good choice, and I think that
I know it looks
his
optically
relationship
looks
with the
bad.
organization.
It
But
looks
do you guys give
spicy.
credence to people who are upset by the Steve Nash choice because of his lack of experience as a coach? And there was a lot of people
Same
who
thing
got
happened to
skipped.
Jason Kidd.
Yeah, Jason
Right?
Kidd.
And he's
and,
turned
like-
out to be a pretty decent coach.
Yeah.
He's looking like
Decent.
he could be.
He at
in
least
the running
fits
for the
in.
Pels.
Why?
Whoa.
Why?
Whoa.
I think there was some clear options
Pelicans.
that seemed like they were ignored. I don't know if people are just waiting for another young team to bring in Mark Jackson, but
Right, the Mark Jackson, they're
Yeah.
clearly blackballing him. We
Yeah,
have
I
to
don't
be
know
real
what's
at
going
this
on there,
point. That's
but-
clear blackballing.
That's crazy.
But other than him, it's like, so you guys do give credence to people being a little bit upset, or at least understand why people are a little bit upset.
I don't get upset, but I would be like kind of questioning it a little bit. Like
Yeah.
it's looking a little funny.
it's a little
You
weird
know,
on
if
a-
it,
oh,
if
you
it
gotta
doesn't
win
come
now?
off, you
Yeah.
look super goofy.
For
like
sure.
you just look like
Like if they have a
Like
losing
you're in a
KD,
win
Kyrie,
now situation,
and
and
now
you got a
Steve
coach with
Nash.
no
and now
experience.
Steve Nash, and then you
That
just
is a little
get
weird.
bummed out. Like that's,
like if they
you're
end
a
up
little crazy.
if they end up having a losing season, what are y'all gonna say?
It's the slander's gonna be real. Like,
Bro, if they have a
Check my
losing
Twitter.
season, I might not even slander Steve Nash though. At the end of the day, they got
KD
Kyrie
deserves
and
a slander
KD,
anyway,
yeah.
so I'm gonna slander him regardless. Kyrie's kind of a weirdo, so like he can.
You just don't like him because he believes in flat Earth.
That's a different podcast.
But I think that's all we got to say for today.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
happy
all.
wrapping it up and ending it here. If y'all haven't yet, make sure that you go ahead and watch us on YouTube now. I'm speaking into the mic, but I'm also looking at you, the viewers.
And also
So-
watch that Vanessa Hudgens video.
For sure.
Most importantly, with Vanessa Hudgens. And after you do, come back and subscribe to us. But yeah.
I guess shit. Well, thank you, Gavin, for coming and
Thanks for
hanging
having
out
me,
again
guys.
today for Charlie. Yes,
No,
sir.
it's alright. It's
I
fine.
already
Just
missed
keep it
that
on
one,
the
for
camera.
sure,
It's alright.
so-
That's a L.
Well, just as always, my name is Chuka,
My name is Ezigo.
and this is the Offspace. Yes, sir.